Today, let's talk about a different challenge when it comes to calisthenics. Now, I can do a lot of the standard skills, so I can do press handstands, I can do handstand push-ups quite comfortably. But when it comes to the more advanced movements like the one-arm handstand, the stalder press, the planches, the front levers, at the pointy end, I struggle to maintain all those things. It's like trying to juggle multiple skills at once. What ends up happening is you start to drop off on a few of those. Now this can be super frustrating because you can have a skill. So let's look at the one arm handstand. I used to be able to just do this with no warm up, be able to go into a 10-second plus, one arm on the right hand side, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you can see there that look, I wasn't in a good straddle. I didn't have good balance. Now I'm not warmed up, but I used to be able to do that. So what I'm trying to do now, especially as I'm older, is I'm trying to just juggle as many of them as I can and keep them as best I can in terms of a level. And then when I warm up, I should hopefully be able to do the thing. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try and get stalder press off the floor. I know I'm probably going to have to drag the feet. I'm going to try and get a decent one-arm handstand on my good side. And I'm going to try and do that in a combination. So if we first look at the stalder press, if I raise my hands up just a little bit, use these P-bars, get into the position like this, I can get through, not touching the floor, up to a handstand, again with no real warm-up, and get back down again with some sort of control, like so. But if I try and do that off the floor, my seated straddle struggles. So this position, it's not bad, but if I try and push up from here, you can see I can't get anywhere near being able to get up into a press and go through to a handstand. So let's try and warm that up now to a stage where I can at least get up, it might not look the best, into a handstand, and then across to a one-arm handstand with a decent hold, and back down again. And I'm going to show you the process that I go through in the next 5 to 10 minutes to get that. So number one, we need to open this up and get those hips a little bit happier. So I can comfortably get belly button to the floor, which isn't there right now. I can get up to a straddle L sit and press all the way up to handstand. So I'm just going to start with some Cossack squats. Now I'm going to do these with my hands on the floor. So it's a closed hip, shoulders forward. So I wouldn't normally teach to do that. I would normally teach the Cossack to be here and have the shoulders behind the knee. But to floss the hips and get into that straddle when I've got a closed hip, I'm just going to do this to start with, flossing each side, try and get into the hips a little bit more, try and make them a little bit happier. And you'll instantly see the difference this makes for me, especially if I do a little bit of this twisted pigeon position here, get into that hip. This is what gets tight on me, my old man hips. I'll be 49 next month. Got to try and maintain these skills into my 60s. Okay, so that's the other side. My right side tends to be a bit tighter. And then let's just look, just that little bit of flossing there, and see the difference that's made. Now I've got belly button down there, so we're much deeper down. Let's try that straddle L. Not really there yet, but I've never been great at pushing off there. But we need to make sure that we can get through to the handstand, which was just about there then. Now for the one-arm handstand, let's do a little bit of flagging, trying to get into the widest position we can with the straddle and try and make it one segment. So this happens, not this. And we want to try and create this. So we're tipping with the torso, with the hip movement, bringing the shoulder in as I flag down onto one side, which makes it much easier to find that handstand. The better you become at middle splits, side flexion, keeping the shoulder in on top of the working arm and looking down there, the easier it's going to be to get into your one-arm handstand. So if I go into my straddle now, I'm going to go nice and close with the hands. I'm going to go into a wide straddle, and I'm not. That's too close for my current mobility. So there. Okay, that feels better. It's a nice wide straddle. Flag over. You can see I lost it on that side. Over to the other side. That's very, very tight for me. I haven't been doing enough of this at all. Yep, doesn't like it, but you'll see the difference when I try and go into the one-arm handstand just by opening that up a little bit. So as you can see with the one-arm handstand, once I've warmed up on my good side, I can get a 10-second plus hold, but I used to have that cold and up to 30 seconds. So I would like to get that back, but at the moment I'm not putting the work in. Okay, so let's see what we're dealing with now. Let's see if we can attempt to get up out of that straddle position into the one-arm handstand. Okay, we're up, over to one side, hitting the wall. Let's try it like this. Okay, not bad. Better than it was. But this, yep, it's going to drag. Okay. So it's not going to look pretty today, but it's going to be a muscled version. Let's do a little bit more warm up. So let's do some standing straddle good morning now. So you can do those Cossacks again, this time trying to be a bit stricter, keeping the shoulder behind the knee. You can sit down on these ones there, but we're dumping into the hamstring a bit more there, but that carries over nicely to that straddle position. And then let's go standing good morning. So open the hip at the top, driving the hips backwards, taking the head even shoulder towards the floor, making sure you can stand all the way back up. This open and closing the hip in a straddle position carries over really nicely to handstand presses. Because if you look at the movement, closed hip, where we start, closed hip, and then open hip there, same as opening the hip there. See the open and closed movement. So that standing straddle good morning is really, really good for calisthenics. Let's attempt it again. So see if we can stay away from the wall this time. Deep straddle, it's getting easier. No, hit the wall and that knocked me out. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, let's try it this way actually. So the foot's going to be well away from that wall. So straddle. Okay.
Here's some info about
No, thanks Siri, but don't need your help. Okay, ugly, messy, but controlled-ish. And look, not a great straddle position, but reality, that's sort of where I'm at. I'll try a couple more, maybe in a straddle handstand without bending that top leg, see if that works out better. If it does, I'll stick them up next. But let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. Let me know what things you get stuck with. Are you trying to juggle multiple skills at once? Or even have you let certain skills go? So maybe you had them in the past and now you can't get them, but you're just letting them go because you want to concentrate on something else. Be really interesting to know because it is reality for most people. If you're after help with your training, check out my app and website, and I'll speak to you guys in the next one.